My name is Virginie de Araújo-Recchia and I'm a French attorney specializing in human rights and constitutional law. With over 20 years of experience, I have dedicated my career to defending individuals against state overreach, and since 2020, I have been particularly focused on protecting fundamental freedoms during crises like the COVID-19 pandemic. As previously announced, I am part of the legal team for Mika in his groundbreaking application to the European Court of Human Rights against Finland. This case challenges profound injustices that echo far beyond one man's story. They strike at the heart of democracy, fairness, and human dignity in Europe. Let me take you through what happened. On December 10, 2021, Mika, a healthy Finnish citizen and devoted Christian since 1994, was denied entry to a simple cafe in Helsinki, Father Cafe, solely because he lacked a COVID-19 vaccination certificate, the so-called vaccine passport. This wasn't just a momentary inconvenience, it was a spark for a grueling legal battle. Mika sued Father restaurants and the Finnish state, arguing that this denial violated his rights under Finnish law and the European Convention on Human Rights. But the system failed him at every turn. The Finnish courts, district, appeal, and supreme, dismissed his claims outright. They imposed staggering court costs of 130,000 euros on him, 110 of around 30,000 euros. Mika now faces financial difficulties. In January and February 2026, authorities seized his salary and bank accounts through forced execution, leaving him in debt. Even his lawyer at the time was sanctioned with 20,000 euros in fines. This isn't justice. It's punishment for daring to question mandatory health policies. At the core of our ECHR application are serious violations. First and foremost, Article 6, Paragraph 1, the right to a fair trial. The presiding judge failed to disclose conflicts of interest. Key witnesses like former Prime Minister Sanna Marin on legislative preparation and health official Satu Koskela on scientific basis were refused hearings. The Supreme Court's denial of appeal lacked any reasoning, ignoring constitutional questions. These procedural flaws turned the trial into a farce, denying Mika an equitable process. We also allege breaches of Article 8, right to private life, Article 9, freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, Article 14, prohibition of discrimination, and Article 1 of Protocol 12. Mika's refusal to vaccinate stemmed from his deep Christian faith. He views his body as a temple of the Holy Spirit, as per 1 Corinthians 6:19-20. He objects to gene therapy, so-called vaccines, potentially altering the human genome. Yet, Finland offered no religious exemptions, forcing him into discriminatory exclusion. Alternatives like paid COVID tests, costing 100 to 2,000 euros every few days, were unaffordable, effectively coercing vaccination. This mirrors warnings from the Council of Europe's Parliamentary Assembly resolutions 2361 and 2383, which urge states to prevent discrimination against the unvaccinated, including for personal convictions. Pfizer's own confidential reports, released in US litigation, documented tens of thousands of severe adverse events from their COVID vaccine as early as February 2021, neurological and cardiovascular harms they knew about but downplayed. This is confirmed by the independent expert Dr. Malhotra. Mika's caution was justified. A close acquaintance lost sight after the Pfizer shot. Independent expert Dr.in-law Matty McConnell highlights the law's unconstitutionality. Dr. Astrid Stuckelberger explains that PCR tests used as alternatives are invalid for diagnosing infectivity, producing over 97% false positives at high amplification cycles. Meanwhile, ECHR precedents like Wawrzyska versus Czech Republic grant states leeway for public health, but not at the expense of fairness or proportionality, especially when vaccines didn't fully prevent transmission. This case is not just about the past, it's a warning for our future. Right now, the European Union is rolling out the European Digital Identity Wallet by the end of 2026, as mandated by the EADA's 2.0 regulation. Officially voluntary and privacy-focused, this digital ID system could enable widespread verification and access controls for services, public spaces, and even daily life. As highlighted in recent legal analysis, including from my own firm, such infrastructure risks evolving into mechanisms of exclusion similar to vaccine passports, potentially extending to behavioral scoring, carbon quotas, or renewed health mandates. Mika's ordeal shows what happens when states normalize denying access based on personal choices or beliefs. If unchecked, the EUD wallet could amplify these dangers across Europe, turning temporary pandemic measures into permanent digital control tools. We must act now to protect fundamental rights before it's too late. This isn't just about COVID policies, it's about holding governments accountable when they trample individual rights under the guise of emergencies or digital progress. Supporters of freedom, justice, and human rights worldwide, thank you. Let's stand with Mika and defend the principle that unites us all. God bless you.